Is it working? Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all. Yeah, we're just working towards the playtest now. Just working on getting everything tightened up. I've gotten through all the bugs, at least that I've noticed so far, and gotten through most of the things that absolutely need to be done for the playtest. So now it's just a matter of, yeah, just finding some extra stuff to do, really. Cleaning up some stuff. I got all the alchemy juice that I wanted to get done. I've got a lot of bugs fixed. This one last night, this boss music stopping after the boss fight, that was an annoying one to fix. Managing sound effects transitions from music to ambience and all that, and doing that in a way that can't be broken by the player, actually turned out to be a little bit tricky. But I got it working. Anyway, so a lot of the streams this week are just going to be random, like odds and ends stuff. Just whatever I decide to work on, whatever issues happen to come up, whatever things need to be fixed. So yeah, not really a concrete plan here, but we'll figure that out in a second. Before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler. So if you are interested in auto battlers, definitely check it out. The hook of this game is that you can use alchemy to mix and match card abilities to create your own builds and your own synergies. So, if that sounds interesting, please check that out. You could also support the game on Patreon. If you join at either tier, you will get 1 week of early access to the playtest that is coming out in a couple of days here, in 4 days or sooner. And so yeah, if you're an active Patreon subscriber, you will get access to the game the playtest 1 week early. And if you subscribe at the top tier here, not only will you get playtest access, but I will also send you an Alchemortis Steam key for the full game when it launches. So if you subscribe at this tier for at least 1 month, you do not have to purchase the game on Steam. I will be sending you a Steam key to the email address that you signed up with on Patreon, and that will be a key for the full game. So yeah, consider doing that, and additionally, your name will be listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So this is like a couple of extra perks for actively supporting the development and helping me out while I'm finishing the game. So I would encourage you to consider that if that's something you're interested in. And I also have the Udemy courses available for sale. These courses teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine. I've got several different courses that cover several different topics. So check those out if you're interested. I would appreciate that. And of course, you could join the Discord. That's linked in the description below. And I should also mention regarding the playtest that you do not have to support on Patreon to join the playtest. Patreon members get 1 week of access early, but the playtest will be open to everyone the week after that. So another way of thinking about it is the Patreon members get 2 weeks of access to the playtest, 1 week of which is exclusive to Patreon members. And then the general public, for those who are not subscribed to Patreon, will have 1 week of total playtest access time. Anyway, all that stuff out of the way, let's get going. Hello, Ataxic, welcome back. Mabs Games, good to see you. Good morning, Emerson, welcome, welcome. How is Godot 4.6 treating you? Welcome, Ninja Chicken. It's going well. Yeah, I like it. I have no problems, and all the features that I've interacted with so far, I've enjoyed, like the new theme and some other settings. So, yeah, so far so good. I'm going to be watching in 144p today because of my internet. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Did you time travel back to 2001? I'm sorry to hear that, but yeah, glad to have you here, Mabs. Hello, Light Tiramisu. How much will the game cost? That is a good question. I haven't decided on a number yet. I have a range which I have in mind, but I don't want to share that range because I don't want to set expectations and then like do something different when the game comes out. So rather than putting an idea into your head and then doing something different by the time release rolls around, I think I'll just wait until release or close to release to announce what the pricing will be. It's going to be affordable for sure. Like it's gonna be nowhere near like $30, for instance. It's going to be nowhere near there. So Yeah, I think it'll be reasonably priced, but I have not decided yet on that exact price. The other thing too that you have to consider is like there's a little trick in marketing which people do all the time, which is you set the base price of the item for much higher than you intend to sell it for, and then you run frequent sales at the actual price that you intended to sell it for. It's a very common like a marketing tactic. So you kind of maybe want to inflate the base cost of the item a little bit so that you can run frequent sales. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I do that. It will be less. Yeah, it will be less than $1,000 for sure. It'll be less than $1,000. Actually, that's an interesting question. I wonder what the max price Steam supports is. Like, can you list a game for $1 million on Steam? That would be fun to figure out. Ah, the Kohl's pricing model, right? Yeah. Everything's expensive, and then every weekday has a different sale. Oh, this one's on clearance. This one's on 40% off. This one's buy 3, get 5 free. And it's like, but they just end up selling, they just making each, the amount of revenue or profit they make on each unit is what they intended to make anyway. So, yeah. I was actually watching that indie game marketing guy, Chris Zukowski. He was saying that, yeah, the people, so he had an interesting take on that, because that to me feels like a little bit slimy. Like, you're just going to inflate the base cost so that you can like give me the impression that I'm getting a great sale price. But he had an interesting take on that. He said, people like sales. People like to feel like they won. People like to feel like they got a deal. And so it's kind of like a game. And shopping is supposed to be fun. It's fun to go hunting for deals. And so give people the opportunity to feel like they snagged a deal. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess, there are people who I'm sure are aware that they're just being gamed, but that's why they're shopping, is that they're kind of playing the shopping game. You know what I mean? Like, it's less about, how much money you're saving or how much money you're spending, and more about like, can you find that deal? Can you find that sale? It's kind of like a treasure hunt. So I was like, okay, that's an interesting way of looking at it. So I don't know, putting that out there for you to consider. No $80 pricing, you could pull it off. Yeah. $80 pricing with steep 75% discounts. I've never seen anything not on sale at Kohl's. Yeah. They let you price CS skins higher than that. Really? Interesting. It's a miracle they haven't been sued. Menards just got in trouble for their rebates. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We will see. We will see. Anyway, there's like one kind of minor thing that I've been wanting to do. It's not necessary, but it's kind of fun. I want to use my new board packing algorithm to place my debug cards. So I have my card list in here, all the debug cards that I want to place. And this is currently just being done from top down, left to right. So it basically goes column by column and tries to place the cards. Of course, that's not optimal, because if I've got a certain number of cards that takes up a certain area, but I'm placing them in a very rigid manner, then sometimes the card placements are going to fail, and that can be annoying for debugging. So, yeah, try place card at next available position. So I think what I want to do is I want to actually create the cards ahead of time, and then in here, this cardboard utils, I have this resized board and place cards here. But I think what I want to do is I want to break this up into two functions here. So we've got these ordered cards here, temporary. So what I'm doing in here, this resize board and place cards, this is part of my algorithm to pack cards together. What I'm actually doing in here is I'm actually creating a new board inventory component, which is a node, but this is essentially just like a purely logical class that keeps track of all of the data on the board in terms of where the cards are at, what size the board is and everything. And then as this board inventory component changes, it emits signals that the UI and the board visuals can hook into to update themselves in accordance with the data. But I added this unbounded mode to it, which basically means that as I place cards in the board inventory component, it will continue to grow the board dimensions to fit all of the cards. So that's very useful for when I have an unknown number of outputs. So for instance, I have a relic in the game or an artifact in the game that increases the number of options that you get from booster packs by 1, and those can stack. So you could theoretically get like 5 of those. And so I typically only offer 3 cards from the boosters, but if you've got 5 shovels, then you'll get 8 cards out. And it's impossible to know what board size is going to support all of those 8 cards because I don't know ahead of time what the dimensions of those cards are. So what this unbounded mode does is this essentially says just grow this temporary board as much as is necessary to fit all the cards. And then the cards are ordered by size descending, so they're ordered by area and then they're ordered by their max dimension in the X or Y. And then I also support a minimum dimension, so the board can't go below a certain size. And then for each of those cards, I place the card at the position on that temporary board. And then I, what is this? Oh, right. And then what I'm doing is I'm basically just getting the max bounding box of the board. And then I set the actual board, so the board that I want to place the cards on, I set that dimension to the max dimension, so the same dimensions as the board. Actually, I don't even know if I need this anymore. I don't think I need this. I'm going to modify this a little bit. Vector 2i, starting dimensions. Starting dimensions or vector 2.1. I don't need this max x. We'll pass in the minimum dimensions there. And I have no need for this anymore. Well, that's kind of nice. Set board dimensions. What I can do is I can do temporary board dot dimensions. There we go. Look at that. We're making it even more streamlined. Anyway, so then I'm setting the actual board dimensions equal to the temporary board dimensions, and I'm basically just I should do this too. Temporary board dot remove card. Try remove card. Card. Okay. So anyway, I'm taking all of the positions of the cards on that temporary board and just transferring them over to the actual board that I want to place them on. And that's how I'm doing this this packing algorithm here. And then I also have, I did a slight modification in here. Try place card at next available position. I have this square boolean here. And what that does is that changes the order in which the cells are targeted for placement. So if I do try place card at next available position, the default behavior is it goes column by column. So it scans the first column from the top down, and then it scans the second column from the top down, and so on and so forth. But in order to bias the board shape into more of a square shape, what I have is I have a square ordering of the cells, which is basically just a way of ordering the cells such that it's an expanding ring that goes from the top left corner of the board all the way to the bottom. So instead of doing column by column, it's more like a ring. So it will check the first ring, which would just be the first cell, and then it would check all of the neighbor cells of that, and then all of the neighbors of those neighbors, and so on and so forth, growing outward, sort of in a diagonal to the bottom right. And then what? I think that's basically it. So those are the modifications I had to make to the board inventory component. Anyway, so that's how that algorithm works, basically. But now I have a situation where I know the board size ahead of time, and I just want to do an optimal placement of the cards. So I need to split this out. Ordered cards. Order cards for placement. This is going to be okay, I suppose. Let's see. We basically just grab this out of here. Public static list. No. Public static void. Place. Pack cards on board. Let's just do let's do IEnumerable base card, ordered cards. So we'll expect this to pass in an ordered cards here. And then card position. This is going to have to actually be slightly different. Yeah, so this actually needs to be try place card at next available position, true. So this is going to be slightly different, actually. So this can just be cards. We're going to do var ordered cards is equal to order cards for placement. So it's a little bit different, I guess. So actually, I should keep this here. Because this one has to read from the temporary board and place it, and this one just has to place it at the next available position, so that's fine. Okay. So with all that done, here, what I want to do is I'll probably streamline this a little bit. Var starting cards is equal to game debug dot is test player cards enabled. Then we're going to do game debug get test player cards. Starting card IDs. This is going to return a string array. So we'll just do card ID skeleton warrior. Card ID dot skeleton warrior. Nope, don't want to start the player with the skeleton dragon. That would be a little bit overkill. Okay, starting card IDs. And then we could do var starting cards is equal to starting cards ID select create card from ID true to list. And then what we could do is we could say cardboard utils dot pack cards on board player inventory dot board starting cards. And now all of this goes away. Cool. Let's see if I broke anything. I'm currently trying to download Godot and it says 3 hours left. That's some real 2001 internet. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Considering the Godot download is only like 100 megabytes too. 100 megabytes. Yeah, you might have to start bringing out the floppy disks, Mabs games. You might need like 8 floppy disks or however many. How much data? Maybe it's more than that. 10 floppy disks. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Monkey Software. Welcome back. Good to see you. Hello, Jahar. Welcome, everybody. Hello, V. Always good to see you all. Look at that. So now my inventory board is packed in a lot more reasonable of a way. And I could even do something like add a rat, and I think that would work just fine. Look at that. It gets packed very nicely. So this is basically like optimal. So in my previous way of placing cards, a lot of these cards would have failed to place because of the way that it would have placed them. But now it's being optimally placed. That's actually really cool. I like that. I like that a lot. So yeah, that just makes my life easier from a debug standpoint. But I should also make sure that the temporary board stuff that I did is still working. Seems okay. .44 megabytes. 70 floppy disks to store compressed Godot. Oh yeah. Well, there you go. There you go. There you go. I remember when I was a kid, did anyone use that program Pivot Animator where you could animate stick figures? Frame by frame stick figure animation. I was like a huge fan of that software, and I remember my dad, I wanted to share the program with my friend, and so my dad loaded it up on a floppy drive, and we brought it over to my friend's computer. I don't remember why we used a floppy drive though. I mean, that would have been, I feel like maybe it was just easier to use floppy disks. But that was like 2002, 2003, something like that. Is that right? Maybe 2004. What's your favorite way to save progress? JSON, resources, serialized binary. For all my games, JSON is perfectly suitable. Alchemortis, I might take a different approach in Alchemortis, but that is something that I have to figure out. That's another thing that I need to do. So backlog, save system. What I'm gonna try to do in Alchemortis is a mid-run save system. Save all visited nodes, inventory, etc. That is actually going to be really hard now that I think about it, because I need to save all of the alchemical outputs and everything too. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to serialize my abilities. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That is going to be one of the next big things that I'm going to have to do. I love Pivot. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. Let me tell you the tale of having to flip over 5.25 inch floppy disks to get the other half of the storage. Right, yeah. Could possibly use a resource instead. Yeah, I just don't know what benefit a resource would have over like JSON. I guess Godot just kind of like natively supports serializing resources. So if I needed to save like vector 2s or other Godot variant types, that would be nice. But when it comes to saving, like, because the complication with this game is that I need to save all of your alchemical results, right? So that means that abilities can basically be on any cards, and I need a way to actually serialize the abilities. Now, the fortunate thing is that the abilities are pretty solid in their definitions. It's just that they're going to have to be recreated. I don't have like internal data to abilities that needs to be serialized, at least not at the moment. But I do need to serialize like what an ability is, and that's going to be a little bit complicated because a lot of my abilities are defined in like anonymous functions. So like if I go to my rat here, oh well, that's not. I think I have a solution, a way that I'm going to do it, but what's a good example? Well, we could just look at the tapeworm. So, you know, I've got like this composed ability that creates, it just has like a constructor function kind of. And so I'm going to need to figure out how to like represent this in a way that could be serialized and deserialized. That's going to be quite a challenge. We'll figure it out, I suppose. Yeah, that's going to be quite a challenge. Hello, Angela. Welcome back. Good morning to you. Son of a bee. I just looked it up and Pivot is alive and well. Last update was May 13th, 2025. For persistence, I just have JSON repositories for development that I will swap out for binary ones, most likely later for release builds. Interesting. I just don't know how much to worry about people downloading a save file for my game for fun or something and getting malicious code injected. Yeah, I'm not sure what the whole deal is with that security concern is. I've heard all kinds of things like it's not a concern or this is like a huge deal, but I don't know. How about this? If you download stuff off the internet from a random stranger, that's on you. Anyway. So improve debug card placement. And I think that's also going to have the side effect of if I don't have the player cards enabled, I think that these skeletons are going to be placed side by side, which is actually pretty cool too. I am back, I think. Welcome back, Real Cruda. Good to see you again. Welcome, welcome. Resource killing scripts that can be an attack vector. True, and especially if you don't check the save for bad actor code, yeah. You do something like Godot save resource loader, look it up. Look at that, skeleton warriors, boom. Okay, anyway. Let's figure out what we need to do next. So that's done. So we could revisit the frog art again. We could figure out what to do with this failed vampire. Actually, you know what I was thinking about doing? Let me open up that failed vampire. I was thinking about just taking this screenshot because I don't know, I'm not going to use this as a vampire, but I do want to salvage this card and use it for something. So I'm going to take this image and I'm going to put it into ChatGPT. And I'm going to ask it, based on this art, I'm not going to share my screen, but based on this art, what would you say this is? And we'll let ChatGPT a bottled or sealed spirit, an alchemical construct or revenant, a cursed relic depicting a trapped figure. Well, ChatGPT did not. What else could it be? I don't like any of those suggestions. A ritual effigy votive idol, a soul imprint memory echo, an alchemical embryo or proto-being. What the heck? A heretical saint icon. A demon contract or bound oath. Interesting. You know what? That gives me an idea. I think ChatGPT is completely misunderstanding this art. I think what we're going to do is we're going to call this a demonologist. We're going to make this guy a demonologist. I still need to figure out what to do with this cloth, though. Let's move this over. I don't know, I just can't get this to look right. Yeah, that looks kind of cool, I suppose. Let me think about this. Give him like a little, just a little sash, you know? Something like that. I think that already looks better. Wonder if we change this color here. Change that. Actually, yeah, I don't really like that color. Okay. Although that is a little bit cool. I kind of just went underground with my current project. I've been doing a lot of work on it. How's it going? That's an Acolyte all day. Oh, an Acolyte's a good one too. Looks like a kind of zealot-y to me. Yeah, Acolyte may be better than Demonologist. Looks like me when I dress up in my dreams. I like a Revenant. Name him the Frog Lord. You solve 2 problems at once. All right. Frog Lord sounds like a fun thing. Lord of Frogs who spawns poison frogs that cause poison damage. He'll worship the frog deity. Maybe we'll do Acolyte. Acolyte is a much better idea, actually. This is why we have the stream chat. Your ideas may just make it into the game, and will make it into the game in a lot of cases. Didn't turn out too bad. So it went from vampire to acolyte. That's good. But now I have to rename all this stuff. That's okay. We'll do this. Export. Let's do... How do I want to do this? Reload from disk. Why is that changed? Anyway. Card creation tool. Let's do 1x2 acolyte. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I will take Alchemortis, assets, card, acolyte. Okay, so there's the acolyte. Let's take the vampire. Vampire here. Let's copy this over. Let's rename this to acolyte, actually. Here, I'll close this first. Acolyte. Cut this out. Paste it here. Replace that file. Open up the Acolyte Sprite. Export that. And then we can look at Vampire here. And I can delete this folder. Remove that. And now... Acolyte. Here we go. Okay. It's a 1x2 card. It's a minion and ritual. Okay, now we need to come up with abilities for the acolyte. Let's see. What can we do with the acolyte? My aim was to push for alpha testing in December, then I failed that window, took 2 weeks off and lost all hope in the project, but managed to save it. It's going very, very well. Yeah, it goes like that sometimes, but I'm glad it's going well. I'm glad it's going well. Chef's kiss on the outcome. Yeah, I think it looks good. Vampires. Yeah, very nice. The new Godot UI for 4.6 is very slick and nice. Yeah, I agree. Is vampire a friend or a foe? It's a friend. RM does RF. Yeah, remove everything. Okay. What abilities do we want to give the acolyte? What abilities do I want to give the acolyte? I was thinking it could be interesting to have an ability where, like, if paralysis is going to be applied, like, it redirects to the acolyte card. So the acolyte could, like, absorb paralysis that gets applied. That might be a little bit tricky from a technical standpoint to do, but could be something interesting. I've been sharing my project outcomes with a lot of good friends, and their feedback has actually motivated me so much to actually finish it. That's great, yeah. Having people that you could put the game in front of to tell you where you're going wrong and what's going well is definitely beneficial. Something to do with rituals or relics. Something with ritual cards. IDK what acolytes actually do. Yeah, ritual definitely is going to be necessary. We could do something interesting like all adjacent cards gain the ritual tag. So that's one thing that I haven't introduced in the game yet, is like modifying the tags of the cards dynamically. So that could be really interesting. Like you could have a card that transforms other cards into ritual cards, and then that can work with any ritual scaling that you have. I think I'm going to try that. That sounds interesting. They read Wikipedia assist priests. Yeah. I'm more interested in knowing how your project is going, Belly. It's going great. I mean, the playtest is going to be coming up here in a couple days on the 31st or before the 31st. I might actually try to release it on Friday because I got stuff to do on Saturday. So I'll probably try to get this out on Friday. And then that will be for Patreon members first. And then for a week after that will be the public playtest. Do you think Godot will be better to make a little game prototype, or should I just use my Python framework? I mean, I recommend Godot for everything, so this is a Godot fanboy channel, and my first recommendation is going to be Godot all the time. But that said, I don't know what your Python framework is. So my general recommendation is just what is your goal, right? Is your goal to learn a new tool? Is your goal to just gain some technical skill in terms of building a game, or do you want an actual prototype that you can put in front of people so that you can judge if you want to make a serious project from it? If your goal is just to tinker and have fun building the tech side of things and whatever, then you might have a different approach to what tooling you use. But if you are just wanting to make the prototype as quickly and as easily as possible, then that's a different consideration, right? And so if you're trying to just make the prototype as quickly and easily as possible, my recommendation would be use whatever tools you're proficient with. And yeah, I think that's basically it. But yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason, like, if you're going to be making lots of prototypes and you're interested in making games, like, I would definitely recommend Godot for sure. I'm the kind of person where, like, I want to use an engine which gives me all kinds of out-of-the-box functionality that I don't have to build myself. This is why I don't use, like, game frameworks, is because that's just, I guess maybe low level is not the right word, but it's kind of directionally accurate. Like, it's too low level. Like, there's still too much that I need to do myself. And the interesting part about building games to me is not the tech side of things and like getting things to render properly and everything. I want to make the game. I want to make the experience that the player is actually going to have, and whatever tool makes it as easy and as quick as possible for me to get that done is what I want to use. And in this case, it's going to be a game engine like Godot. Yeah, if you plan to move away from your Python framework, a prototype would be a good thing to start learning Godot with. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think the number one recommendation is, like, use this tools that are going to get you like what you want. That's in as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Let's try getting this to project tags to adjacent things. Now, I don't know how I'm going to get this to work. So I think, unfortunately, I'm going to need to change all of these places, but that's okay. I think what I want to do is I want to, let's see. Probably follow the same pattern as this projected composed abilities, I think. How does the copy ability work actually? Rat, copy adjacent poison. Interesting. So I think I know how I'm going to add like temporary tags. The problem is, how am I going to actually remove those tags? So the Acolyte can put the ritual tag on adjacent cards, and I think I have a pretty good path forward on that in my mind. Except the problem is I don't know how I'm going to remove the tags from the cards when the Acolyte's position changes. Well, I think I'm pretty set on... Why is this here? So anyway, what I want to do is I want to let's do public card tag temporary tags get private set equals card tag dot none. So then what I want to do is we're going to want that public card tag get tags return card definition resource dot tags or so binary or temporary tags. So now I just need to call get tags wherever I want, and that will include the temporary tags. Now the problem here, though, is I don't know how to reset the temporary tags when the board state changes. On board, nope. Update non, wait. Update board state contingent abilities? That's not right. Or maybe that is. Ability to execute enhanced context. So I almost want to do temporary tags is equal to card tag dot none here. And then ability to execute. So the problem is update board state contingent abilities. Where's this called? Update board state contingent abilities. Yeah. So it's iterating over every card and it's calling this. So let's say that the Acolyte goes and it sets the temporary tags on a neighbor card to ritual. But then that card goes in the next as the next element in the loop and it's going to reset its temporary tags. So I need to like defer the application of the temporary tags until every... Well, that's not going to work either. That's not going to work either because let's say I have a board state contingent ability that relies on a ritual card being a neighbor. So I've got like an order of operations issue here because I could have the Acolyte put the ritual tag on its neighbor. If that neighbor is delaying the application of that temporary tag because this is being reset to none, it may affect another contingent ability down the line, which would scale off of ritual cards, right? So, and I could, for instance, in the Acolyte, I could store a list of all the cards that are actively being affected by the Acolyte and clear those. Yeah, I think I almost need to do two steps here. I need to do a step where I change the tags first, and then I need to do a step where I update the board state contingent abilities. Because I'm just going to have order of operations issues here all the time. How am I going to do this? So let's think of the other situation too. Let's say that I have a contingent board state ability that scales off of ritual cards and that gets processed first before the Acolyte. It's going to update its abilities before its neighbor has had the ritual tag applied by the Acolyte. So yeah, it's like no matter which way I slice it, there's going to be an order of operations issue here. Another option is I could detect if the tags have changed. So if the new tag value is different than the previous tag value, and then I can just rerun the whole update board state contingent abilities loop, and I just keep doing that until it resolves. That doesn't seem ideal to me either. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Learning Python would probably be a good intro programming for GDScript, no? Yeah, for sure. One other thing is that Godot is so easy to learn. If you already code, it'll get you farther faster than if you try to make Godot before using it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Is it possible to make the Acolyte trigger update after it's projecting logic? Yes, but the problem there is going to be avoiding infinite loops, right? So, I mean, maybe. Let me think. Because, I mean, the fundamental problem is I don't know how many cards could potentially be affected by this update, right? So, yeah, after the Acolyte goes and applies its tags, I could say, okay, like re-trigger this update board state contingency on all of its neighbors or whatever. But I could have a card in the, top left corner of the board or whatever that scales based off of that has a non-combat ability or a board state contingent ability that scales off of the number of ritual cards, I wouldn't have any way of like reliably finding that card and triggering its update as well. I think the cleanest way to do this is just going to be to do a separate step where I change the tags first and then I update everything after I've applied the tags. But that's going to get a little bit messy as well. It's a good question. How do you manage save files? I haven't done anything with saving and loading in this game yet. But we'll probably use JSON. All right, well, I'm gonna take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we'll figure out what to do with this. Yeah, I don't really know how to approach this from a technical standpoint. I think I may have to do this in 2 steps, but the problem is I don't really have a way of differentiating this ability as having like a different step. So yeah, anyway, I'll be right back in 3 minutes and then we'll figure out what we're doing. So BRB. Hello, your favorite niche e-celeb is back. Okay. What are we going to do about this? Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of a weird problem. Let me look where this is being used. What does the Friar do? Turn cooldown is reduced by 1 for each adjacent. Look at that. Turn cooldown is reduced by 1 for each adjacent ritual card. So there's already a card in the game. Scales off a ritual. I mean, it's an enemy card, but this is a perfect example of the problem. If this ability gets updated before all of the cards have had their tags modified by the Acolyte, then this is going to be out of date. Yeah. Shoot, what am I going to do here? I mean, the only thing I can really think of for now is something that's not super complicated, is applying the tags first. And then updating everything else. Oh man. I mean, that might be the approach that I just have to take, at least initially. Update the tags first and then update all the rest of the non-combat composed ability. Now, what is a way that I can do that? Yeah, I guess I'm just worried about the situation where that update should also trigger more updates based on the non-combat composability. So I almost need like a sophisticated system that can keep re-updating everything until the system has stabilized. So I almost need a way of detecting like if changes are being applied on every update here, and keep running the update until the board has become stable, until there's no more updates. But I would need to introduce a bunch of kinds of extra data tracking and everything. I would need a reliable way of determining whether a card has changed as a result of some of these updates as well. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. That's crazy. The other hacky way to do it is to potentially... I don't know if this is going to work, but I could just potentially just run this twice. So I run the update the first time, whatever order happens, it doesn't matter, and then I run it again. I mean, that's still going to be the same problem, I think, because you could imagine like a chain of things which keep like adding to their neighbors, and then, you know, you've got like 4 neighbors in a contiguous chain. The first update will affect the first neighbor, the second update will affect the second neighbor, the third update will affect the fourth or the third neighbor. I forgot where I was in the counting there, but yeah, this is kind of, this is going to be a problem no matter what I do, unless I come up with a more sophisticated solution of like figuring out when all of the updates have stabilized. Dang, this is a hard one. Hello, Clickertail, welcome back. Last one to like the stream's a rotting corpse pile. Very nice. 4.6 changed the UID field name in the Trez files from UID to unique ID. Oh, interesting. Recursive board updating. Yeah, it would have to be recursive. It's like a more complicated Bellman-Ford algorithm. I don't know what that is. Computes the single shortest paths in a weighted directed graph. Oh, I see. Single source shortest paths. Hello, what are we doing today? Well, I'm adding this acolyte to the game, and the ability that I want to add to it is presenting quite a conundrum for me. Basically, the acolyte is going to project the ritual tag onto its neighbors, but I'm realizing that there's going to be a problem here with this update board state contingent abilities. I wonder if it's as simple as... No, it's not going to be simple. It's not going to be simple. Dang. Well, we could ask the AI. Let's see if the AI offers any useful advice here. I have this method which updates abilities when the board state changes. Where is that? Inside of board manager. I'm trying to add an acolyte which will change the temporary the base card temporary tags value. However, since these updates are applied in a specific order, it is possible that a card which comes previously in the order could have abilities that depend or scale off of the temporary tag value, which will be applied later in the update list. I basically need a solution that guarantees that everything is up to date, even as the state of the board and card abilities are being changed via update. And we're going to change this to ask. Board state contingent abilities. What are some solutions? Classic dependency resolution problem. Here are several solutions, order from simplest to most robust. Two-pass approach. Update board state contingent abilities. Card and cards reset non-combat modifiers. Applied tag modifications. Apply non-tag abilities. So reset... Oh. Apply tag modifications. Should execute apply tag modification, apply non-tag abilities. So that's basically what I was suggesting is do the tag modifications first and then the abilities. Fixed point iteration. Keep updating until no changes occur. Priority-based ordering. Execution priority, ability priorities, tag modification, stat modification. These sort of abilities. That was another solution that I was thinking of, is priority-based ordering. Okay. Well, it's the AI is saying do solution number 1. Okay. Maybe we'll just do solution number 1 then. That's kind of what I was already doing. Reset non-combat modifiers, apply tag modifications, and then do the non-tag abilities. I think that doesn't fully solve the problem. That doesn't fully solve the problem, but the problem that I have in my mind is not possible yet with the abilities that are in the game. So maybe I just won't worry about that. Like, let's imagine, well, there's clever ways around. Maybe what I need to do is I just need to treat my system as a constraint and just kind of like design my abilities a little bit differently. Because I'm thinking, imagine that I have a board state contingent ability that only gets added to a card when a certain condition is met. And then when it gets added to the card, let's say it adds healing when a condition is met. Well, let's say that I have a card next to that scales based on adjacent cards that have healing abilities, right? That could still present the same problem where if that card, well, maybe that won't be a problem. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Anyway, I could see a situation where if I'm dynamically changing the abilities or the stats of a card, it's still going to be order dependent. But I think there are ways where I can avoid that by making the ability present on the card, but then baking the conditionality into the ability itself. So rather than conditionally adding the ability to the card, the ability is on the card, but it just conditionally executes based on certain parameters. So it's the same thing, except it's always there for the purposes of scaling with other cards like neighbors and whatnot. Okay, so I think we'll just take that approach. That's kind of the approach that I was thinking of doing anyway. And I guess we'll just have to keep an eye on it and make sure that's not not broken. Okay. So I'll move this down here. Oh, this needs to be public. Why did this make this private? Did it just not read my code? Or is this, oh, I see, because I'm going to be calling those all individually from the board manager. Okay. Reset non-combat modifiers. Bellman-Ford algorithm runs n-1 times, n-1 times, or unless no paths are updated, then it knows it's finished. In your case, it would be good until, okay, I can't read. In your case, it would be until no cards are updated, but tracking card changes is a lot harder than Edge. But it wouldn't work with negative cycles, which would be infinite loops in your case. Cards updating cards, right. Hello, Wooius, welcome back. Will there be any translations in the game release or English only? Probably not at release. I just don't know, yeah, how translation is going to work in this game. Especially since, like, the most important Well, I don't even know if I could sell my game in China. I think the most important language would be Chinese because that would be the next largest market. I don't know. We're going to worry about translations later, but I think I could be wrong, but I don't think it's legal to have games in China which depict skeletons or dead things, generally speaking. I could be wrong, but I remember reading a story about how World of Warcraft, for releasing in China, they had to remove like skeletons and bones from like the dungeons and stuff. And so if my game is entirely based around like having skeletal things, I don't know if that's going to be yeah, a good thing. Yeah, so I might not even be able to sell the game in China, honestly. But yeah, as far as other languages, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of challenges. Number one, just because the language is very specific, right? Like whenever I use certain words, they mean certain things. And so retaining that consistency across languages that I don't speak is going to be very hard. And then also, depending on the language, I might have to change the font of the game based on your language setting because the pixel art font that I'm using has a limited number of glyphs. So if I need like accent characters, I don't think that's in my pixel font. Certainly it's not a Chinese font, so if it was to be released in China, I would have to use a completely different font for that. So yeah, that is a challenge that we are going to we're going to burn that bridge when we get there. We're going to burn that bridge when we get there. I'm just going to copy this. I-tag modifier. We'll worry about that in a second. I don't even think I'm going to need this anymore. So I'm just going to remove this actually. Okay, so now let's go to our abilities here. Tag-projector.cs, namespace game.data.ability, public class tag projector. We are going to need a query target provider. Base card ability. Implement abstract class, execute, return empty result. I think I want to go here. We want to make that publicly accessible, I think. So for each var target in query target provider.get cached targets. Okay, this window needs to go away. Target.temporary tags or equals tags to project. That works. So I think that's basically it. So then the acolyte here, what we're going to do is we're going to say var query target provider is equal to new query target provider, query target provider dot query options dot query directions is equal to board inventory component dot query directions dot adjacent. What else? I think that's it. Var tag projector is equal to new tag projector, query target provider. We're going to do card tag.ritual. And then we're going to say return new ability builder configuration, query target projector. Projects the ritual tag to adjacent cards. That works. Okay, so then in our base card here, instead of iTag modifier, we're going to do tag projector. Tag projector. Oh, but that's not going to work. I need to... This is getting the flattened abilities. Okay. Oh, I guess that's fine, actually. That's probably all right. No, this is not going to work. Where A is non-combat composed ability, or try get ancestor. This would be A is tag projector. No. Shoot. This is not going to work either. I only want to get the non-combat composed abilities that have a tag projector as a descendant. Private bool, try get descendant of type T base card ability, parent ability, out T descendant. Oh my gosh, why is that so complicated? Child abilities, ability, parents contains value, parent ability. Ability, parents contains value, child abilities. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Goodness gracious. A is non-combat ability, and try get descendant of type tag projector. A out. Yeah, that's fine. So this is going to filter down the non-combat ability. Well, this is already... Yeah. I think that works. And then we'll exclude anything that does have it. So we're going to include any ability that has a descendant of type tag projector. And we're going to exclude any ability that has a descendant of type tag projector in the next step here. Okay, I think that will work. Goodness. Okay. Var cards is equal to board.board inventory component.get cards on board. Cards. Card.reset non-combat modifiers. For each var card and cards, apply tag modifications. For each var card and cards, apply non-tag abilities. Okay. Is that it? Is that all that we need to do? So I'm gonna have to check that I didn't break anything. So this is actually going to be great to test with the fryer here. So I'm going to do the rat and the frog. We're going to do the acolyte and the fryer. And let's also do incense. Let's see what happens. Good morning, Nick. Welcome. Good to see you again. How are you doing? The blood would need to be white. Oh yeah, for the Chinese game. What font are you using and where did you get the font from? The font I'm using is called Soft Square, and I think it came from a pixel font pack on itch.io. So the frog did not get the ritual. That's still copying the ability from the frog, so that's good. The frog is not getting the ritual. Oh, I haven't actually done the update part. Right. So now what I need to do is I'm not using that temporary tags value anywhere. So now I need to look for wherever this card definition resource tags is used. And I need to change this to get tags. Because this get tags function is going to include those temporary tags as well. So anywhere where I'm reaching out to the base card to get tags, I need to change this. Get tags. Honestly, what I should do is I should make this private. So I should make the underlying card definition resource private and force myself to go through the base card API layer to get anything, because then that would make it a lot more extensible if I need to inject some new data into that. But as with everything, it's a balance between spending time making the code perfect and getting the game done. That one's fine. Okay. So now if I do find all references, I'll just go through and make sure I didn't miss anything. These ones are okay because these are just operating off of card definition resources, but anywhere where I have a reference to the base card and I'm checking its tags, it needs to use that get tags function. All right, let's see what happens. The only live stream I ever watched on YouTube. I'm honored. Welcome, Alex Developer. Good to see you. Just found out a weird bug with JSON files. When you reload the projects, if the file has a .tres extension, it won't show the data even though it still exists. Oh, interesting. Can we get elemental fryers like earth, wind, and air fryer? You just wanted to make an air fryer joke, didn't you? Okay, so there we go. The frog now has the ritual tag. And so now this fryer here, if I move the fryer, Well, the frog is the only thing on here that doesn't have the ritual tag. Why does the rat have the ritual tag? Is that true? It does have the ritual tag. Okay, well, we'll just leave that, I suppose. So the only thing on here that actually doesn't have the ritual tag is the frog. So this friar, turn cooldown is reduced by 1 for each adjacent ritual card. So if I move the friar out of the way, oh, its turn cooldown is going up. Oops. That friar is wrong. Right, because this value is positive in here, so I need to fix that as well. I think I can just do this. Value scalar is equal to new value scalar query target provider. Value scalar dot set multiplier -1, and then I put the value scalar in here. Okay. Let's try it again. So the friar has a turn cooldown of 10. So we'll just make sure that this is working as expected. So that's 7. Put this over here, that's 10. If I put the frog here, it's still 10. But if I put the acolyte next to the frog, this should be 9. Dang it. Didn't work. Now it's working. It's not working. This has the ritual tag. This is not working here. Son of a biscuit. Well, the only thing I can think of as to why that's not working is maybe my filtering is wrong on my base card. Let's get rid of all this stuff. I wonder if this filtering is wrong. So I could just check this in here. I could say applying acolyte tag filters. And if I don't see that print, then that's basically going to show me the error. I think what's probably happening is that filter is wrong for some reason. Oh no, it's working. Applying acolyte tag filters. If ability is tag projector, gd.print, this shouldn't happen. Well, I've met my match. Gonna head out and work on stuff. See ya. All right, thanks for joining Ataxic. Always good to see you. Hope to see you tomorrow. Finally starting your Udemy course on roguelike as I've been using Counter-Strike 3 for 4 years and will explore outside my comfort zone. Awesome. Nice. So have you started it yet? What do you think so far? And welcome to the stream, by the way, the Artwork Hub. Uh-oh. We've got this shouldn't happen here. So that's an issue. Oh, right. This is not right. Because this is returning a flattened list, so I'm applying this to the entire flattened list. When in reality, what I want to do is I want to add an additional filter here. Additional filter dot invoke is not equal to false. That'll do it, I think. And so now instead of doing this, I do this here. Oh, this needs to change func base card ability. Okay, and then here, there. So I need to filter it out at the composed ability level before flattening the list. That's basically what needs to happen. Okay. I don't know if that's going to fix the issue that I was looking at, but that certainly fixes an issue. Hey, is it working now? So I'm not seeing any... Oh my, that's a lot of Acolyte tag filters. I guess it's printing twice for every update. Let me see. I think I should see 3 prints, I think. I should see 3 prints per update if I'm thinking about this correctly. So I'm doing this off screen. If I move the Acolyte, yeah, 3 prints per update. That's because this ability is actually decomposed into a flattened list of 3 abilities. We have the non-combat ability, which gets executed. Then we have the query target provider, which gets executed. Then we have the tag projector, which gets executed. So, and I'm not checking for the tag projector in this print. I'm just printing this for each ability. So that makes sense. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay, so now if I take this Friar, 10 turns, turn cooldown is reduced by 1 for each adjacent ritual card. So if I move this up, that's now 9 turns because this frog has the ritual, right? But if I move the frog, then this should go back to 10 because this no longer has the ritual tag because this is projecting ritual tag to adjacent cards. But now if I put that there, 9 turns. Okay, cool. Goodness gracious. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm back. What were you doing the past 15 minutes? Just trying to get this new ability to work. But we did it. I think we're good. Move the frog over here. That's pretty cool. I'm glad I added that. So it was a little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be, but we're good now. So I want to add more abilities to the Acolyte for sure, but for now I just want to commit this because I've made this massive change. Okay. Support projecting tags. Goodness gracious. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. Unable to find the font. Is it possible for you to send it to me since I might be able to add more glyphs to it? Oh, no, you don't need to do that if you're going to do that for me. But I will send the font. I mean, I think it's just... Maybe it's not a thing anymore. I'm not finding it either, but this is, let's see. Chevy Ray Soft Square is what it's called. So this is, I mean, this is the, that link is the place. I don't know if that link shows up on YouTube. Hopefully it does. That's a place, I mean, that's the author of the font. I can't find the individual font, but yeah, you don't need to, I'm just full disclosure. If you do end up adding glyphs to it, I'm not going to use that in the game. So I don't want you to go through the effort of adding that with the expectation that I'm going to use it. So if you want to add more fonts for fun, then you can do that, but I'm not going to use any of that. Or add more glyphs, I mean. Okay. So we need to add more abilities to the Acolyte, but I'm just going to take another quick break here. It does. I don't know what that's in response to. Oh, the link showing up. Yeah. So I'm going to take another quick break, and then when I come back, we will add 1 or 2 more abilities to this Acolyte, and then we'll see what we do from there. So I'll be right back, and we'll continue on. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, the link appeared, but yeah, if you aren't going to use the modified version that has more glyphs, then that's fine. Thanks for sharing the link to it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So what other abilities should the Acolyte have? What other abilities should the Acolyte have? Let me think. We could do, I mean, we could just make it scale off of itself. We could do, our composed is equal to new composed ability. Oh, let's do query target provider. Query directions dot adjacent, query target provider dot query options dot tag filter is equal to card tag dot ritual. Var value scaler is equal to new value scaler query target provider. Value scaler dot set multiplier 2. And actually what we're going to want to do is const int base fire damage is equal to 2. Var current fire damage is equal to base fire damage. We'll set this to current fire damage here. Return new ability configuration abilities query target provider. We need the new var fire is equal to new dynamic magnitude ability. Value scaler. New fire 0. And then in here we do the fire. And then here we're going to do var scaler is equal to ability scalars dot get fire scaler. Scalar base fire damage, or is it tier first? No, that's right. Per query target provider dot to query string. Apply. Current fire damage. There we go. And we can add the composed here. So we're making it project the ritual tag, and then it deals damage based on adjacent, deals fire damage based on adjacent ritual cards. Apply 2 fire per adjacent allied ritual. Oh, I want to force singular. Will the playtest be free? Yes. So if you are a Patreon subscriber, which obviously isn't free, you get 1 week of early access to the playtest, but then the playtest is free for everyone the week after that. Okay. So if this is working the way that I think it should be working, then what I should be able to do is I should be doing 2 fire based on the frog here, which has the ritual card. Do you have any tips on how to get focused? I envy the focus you have on Alchemortis. Hello, Gabriel Augusto. Yeah, it's mostly just a matter of discipline. Like, you need to get in the habit of working regularly on your game. And that is like the discipline that you need to make your game and to consistently work on your game is a skill that can be developed like any other skill. Once you get the momentum going, once you get into the habit of working on it, you know, usually I would recommend doing it like at the same time every day. Once that becomes part of your routine, it becomes a lot easier to do the work. And it's like really important, I think, to stay on top of that routine, because that's what makes it easier to do. That's what makes it easier to stay focused. And you don't have to start with long periods of time either. You could just say, okay, starting today, at 6 p.m. or whatever, I'm going to work on my game for 15 minutes and then just try to keep that consistency up for a week and then try to up the time, right? Go to 30 minutes, go to 45 minutes, go to an hour, whatever your desired amount of time that you want to work on your game is. And just build that habit, build that routine. And that's a skill that you'll develop, and it becomes easier to stick with things when you approach it that way. That's been my experience anyway. And eventually what happens is you get to the point where you actually enjoy working on your game more than you would enjoy doing something else. So for instance, like, you know, I'll be playing a video game or something, and then I'll be like, this isn't actually that enjoyable. Like, I have this thing that I want to do in Alchemortis that I'd rather be doing. So I end up just gravitating towards working on my game anyway, because there's something about it that's just much more fulfilling, much more engaging than doing something like, you know, a leisure activity or whatever. Sweet, that's working. So that's actually a really cool card. I like how this one turned out. So it's projecting the ritual tag, and then it deals damage. So basically it's going to deal damage, fire damage equivalent to how many cards are adjacent to it, essentially. But then these are interesting alchemical abilities. Like you could use this in alchemy to get some interesting builds going. I really like how this acolyte turned out too. It went from failed vampire to like super cool acolyte. I like that. I like that. Just gonna modify the sprite a tad. I spelled ability wrong. Oh well. Cool. So I'm gonna need the acolyte flavor text. This is done. So I just need to do the acolyte flavor text, and then we'll be good to go. Plus, Patreon subscribers get more. The chicks. Well, that's true. That is very true. I mean, your mileage may vary, but the problem is to keep it a routine. I suck at being disciplined now. Right, yeah. The routine is the important part. Oh, you haven't seen the new frog art? Okay, well, let's see. I'll open it up. That's a great tip, actually. I think I've been doing it this right. Oh, Godot crashed. I just didn't find a project that keep me engaged for a long time yet. Yeah, that can happen too. I mean, I think that... Here's the new frog art, by the way. It's like a little scene instead of just a singular frog. I'm probably going to change this again, but... Anyway, this might be another case where I just take this art and I modify it. Maybe I remove the frog and put something else there, and then I make it an enemy faction card or something. But anyway, yeah, I think if you're having trouble staying, like if your game is not keeping you engaged in your work, that could be a number of issues. It could just be because you haven't built that habit of discipline. But when you've actually built the habit of discipline and the game is still not engaging or fun to work on, usually, at least in my experience, that's a signal that there's something fundamentally wrong with your game. Like the game design is flawed, or, you know, it's just, if the game design is flawed, then the game is probably not going to be fun. So if the game isn't fun, that indicates that there's a problem with the game design, and that will also affect your engagement or your motivation to work on it. So I would take that as a signal. Like if you have the habit of discipline and you are regularly working on your game and you're still not enjoying it that much, then I would like encourage you to take a step back and think about like, okay, what about this game is not fun? Because what my experience is that when the game is coming together, when the visual effects are in place, when the art is coming along well, and when the game is actually fun to play, it becomes a lot easier to work on the game because it's fun. Like you want to realize the potential, right? But if none of that is happening, then I think it's a good opportunity to reevaluate and say, okay, like what's wrong with my game design here? Or what's wrong with my art? Why am I not having fun working on this? But again, you know, it's like not having fun working on a project it could be due to a number of reasons, but that's just in my experience what I've found. I wonder at what time I should start pursuing game dev streaming. It's going to be hard to start. You have to start sometime. I like the eyes. Oh, that's a polite way of saying that you don't like the art. It's okay. I'm going to redo it. Fun fact, I still use Windows 7. Oh, yeah, interesting. I didn't find working on my game fun until I started to improve my text renderer system. Then I found it fun to work on the game. Yeah, stuff like that increases the enjoyment. But I think with every game, even if your game is fun, there's going to be parts of the development that are just absolutely sluggish. Like they're just going to be not fun no matter what you do. And that's where the discipline really kicks in. Like that's where, you know, you just kind of have to get into bite the bullet mode and get it done. Like, I'm not looking forward to adding controller support to this game at all. That is going to be a miserable experience, but it's going to be a necessary part of releasing the game, and so I'm just going to have to do it anyway. That's not what I meant. I just think it's cool with Sophie Pixel's eyes look clear and bulging out of the head. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was mostly joking, but I don't think that the art is perfect, so I'm gonna revisit it. Actually, somebody suggested yesterday making the frog like 60% legs, and so I kind of like drew up this rough silhouette of the frog here, and I actually think that already looks much better than what I have here. Like this just looks weird, but I made the legs a lot longer in this silhouette here, and so I think I may be able to work off of this now, and that's automatically going to be better than whatever this thing is. And then I don't want to discard this art. This looks more like a peaceful, tranquil scene though. So I may just remove the frog from here, this frog art, and put some other plants or like foreground elements here. And then this can just be like a little pond card or something for the enemy. So we're gonna make use of even the garbage. We're just gonna make use of it. We're gonna make use of it. Legs for days. Frog does look better. The fun stops when I need to do pixel art. I'm building a whole editor plugin just to edit assets in the game. It's taking me 4 days so far. I've seen that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've been loosely following the updates you've been posting in the Firebelly Discord. Looks really cool. I think building editor tools or like game tools can be really fun too. For sure. Okay. All right. Well, that is going to be it for the stream today. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for being here. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do for my goal is I'm going to release the playtest on Friday. So yeah, we've got a couple more days to clean up some stuff, do some bug fixing, add some new content. So the streams are going to be kind of like haphazard this week because I'm like running out of critical things that need to be done to be added to the game. So yeah, but yeah, it will be released. The playtest will be released on Friday for Patreon members. Again, it will be available for a week for Patreon members only, and then the week after that, the playtest will be available for everyone. It'll be public, so there's no need to pay for anything. Don't need to give me your money just yet. But that's a nice little bonus for the people who are subscribed on Patreon. So check that out if you're interested. Also, again, wishlist Alchemortis if you are interested. I'd very much appreciate that. And all the ways that you can support me and the game are linked in the description below. Join the Discord, that's also linked below. But yeah, the fun stops when I need to rewrite half my framework, yeah. See, friends, you're now one of my favorite game dev YouTubers. Thank you, I appreciate that. Did rewrite my GPU SDL into Mono Game, it was fun. Yeah, things like that can definitely be fun for sure. What do you think about Godot 4.6? I like it. I mean, there's not a whole lot of features related to my game in there, but I always love Godot updates. I always love seeing what changes, mostly because it's just like seeing the trajectory that Godot is on is fun. And so like seeing it become more mature and more performant and have more like quality of life features added to the editor and whatnot. I love that kind of stuff, but yeah, I'm excited to see where Godot goes in the next few years for sure. All right, that's it. Thank you, Mabs. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's it for the stream. I might be streaming later this afternoon, so keep an eye on the Discord. If not, I'll see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.